I found something that's wrong with this one. I found something that's wrong with this one. Are they worth the money? Is this new design really the best option for mounting a visibility light? How much does it weigh? How long does the battery last on this guy? And yeah, is Ravemen the next greatest company for bike lights? Let's get into it.
So this guy right here is the PR 1600 from Ravemen, which is 1600 lumens. I think they make a 2400 lumen. It's the most powerful one they have. The 1600 has a remote high beam function, 2400 too. And I think the ones below don't. Basically, you have to take your hands away from the grip and touch the light to change high beam, low beam. So that's why I really wanted this. I wanted to be able to turn off and turn on the high beam at all the times, because I really don't need the high beam all the time. Just once in a while, flick it on, flick it off. It'll make the battery last longer, I'm assuming, because that's been a problem of mine, running out of battery. So I'm gonna take this out into the woods now. Well, it's still light out for like another 45 minutes, and then it's gonna get dusky and dark. So let's see how we do.
Like, it's a super nice aluminum casing, and I actually have broken so many headlights. And usually what breaks is the clip at the bottom. But this one is actually replaceable, which is cool. And it's really it's low profile, because I flipped over the handlebars, and then a lot of times that's the highest point of the bars hitting the ground, and then this breaks off, meaning makes the whole light useless. So if this is replaceable, that gives me hope that you may be able to get a new one. And then yeah, beautifully made aluminum casing. It's got some weight behind it. All right, so first impression, it's getting slowly dark. This light is super low profile. I don't know if you guys can see this. The other lights that are usually used were much higher, taller, mounted up from the bars, meaning my brake cable was out of the line of fire. Now actually, when I descend, I have my brake line kind of flickering in front of the light. So that's actually really super annoying. So that's not the light's fault. Actually, the light is great, it's lower. So it's kudos for making it a low profile light. Ended up zip tying my brake line to my shifter cable. So now I don't have that dancing shadow in front of me. All right, that is in low beam right now, but it's not that dark yet, so I don't have to worry about seeing anything. Plus it's also not super fast. Wait, this is a left-hander. Helps when you know where you're going. Almost completely dark. We have a little bit of climbing here, so it's a good time to play around with the lighting and give this a little bit of a look. This is low, and that's high. The low is high, the low is low. All in the thumb. It's beautiful. High, low, high, low, hello. I love this. This is great. Because it used to be I had to take my hands off the handlebars, or at least off my grip, to get to where I wanted to go. Like right now, I just switched it to the lowest low, because, you know, I don't need to burn battery. But it's, you know, a matter of like, oh, there's something. Ooh, boom, I'm right there. Yeah, this is exactly what we want. And then you can just go boop, 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 back down. I want it on here. Sorry. Yeah. So, but you see how fast you can turn that on and off, having it at your thumb. And I mounted it right to the grip. I know they wanted me to mount it to the handlebars, but the way I have my hands positioned on my grip, I actually have just enough space right at the edge of the grip to put the remote, and it's actually a perfect place for it. Yeah. The high beam's nice. It sprays, is that the word? Fans, better word, the light out nicely to the sides too, and actually pretty close to the front wheel. It's not like this weird spotlight in the distance, which some lights can be just too pointy. This one's not pointy. I'm in the turn and I can look out of the turn, like through the turn, and I have light going out that way. It's not like some weird spot. So that's great. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some of the features of the PR 1600. It's impact resistance and it's waterproof. When you're charging the light, they're great indicator lights to let you know that you are charging it. The battery has USB in and out, so you can charge actually a phone and use the light as a battery bank. The dual lens design has an anti-glare low beam for commuting. And last but not least, the LED runtime display and mode indicator. 1 hour still. If I go one lower, I'm at 2 hours. Another one lower, I'm at 4.5 hours runtime. So this is really helpful. Okay, so but how accurate was it? So I set the light to the highest high beam and started my stopwatch to see if my stopwatch and the estimated time on the light itself are, kind of within the ballpark. And to my surprise, the estimated time would keep going up. It went from 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 to 3.5. And so there's something going on where it's maybe not 100% correct. It does change if you change the intensity of the light, so I'm sure there's some good calculations there, but it's still an estimate. I think the most important part is that there's a low battery warning, which is really helpful, and eventually it did kind of calibrate itself and find its bearing, but I would mainly look out for that low battery warning, and but it does help you to give you some sort of an estimate. Now, I wanted to compare this to my other lights that I used. This one, I know that one is a 1000 lumen bicycle light that I use a lot. It's 180 grams versus the 1600 lumen is 240 grams. So it is a lot heavier, but it's also so well constructed and it has a lot more features than my other lights. But I think it's worth the extra weight. Alright, well, let's switch gears and go to the computer-mounted FR160 from Ravemen. 160 because 160 lumens, so it's not super bright. This is the computer mount bike light. And really cool about this bike light is that it cleans up your handlebars. You don't have to mount anything on the bars. You have all the bar available for gripping it. I used to have a basically just a regular one of these guys clamped on top, which is good, but it just takes up another space. Plus, it's kind of tall and it's not the lightest. So this is one of the biggest feature on this light. It's basically, I leave it on my bike all along, and it's super light comparing it to the other bike lights as far as weight goes. Battery life, super long. It's not bright enough that you can see at night, but it's bright enough to be seen. So keep that in mind, but it's a good emergency light to have on your bike at all times, just the way you have a tail light on your bike at all times. I don't recommend riding on the road or wherever there's cars at night anyway. If it's the dirt road, different story. But then this is not the light, this is just your backup. This is your backup. You can take this off and hold it and fix your bike, but it's not a riding light. As far as the brightness goes, it's not too bright to blind oncoming traffic, which is also not what you do. Sometimes people ride with these super bright lights
and blind actually the traffic, which is some more dangerous. It defeats the purpose because then they can't see you and they're kind of drawn towards the light like a moth towards a light bulb, and chances of getting hit because of that go up too. So if you set this at the highest continuous setting, you're going to get about 4 hours of runtime out of this, so it's pretty good. Now if you go to the rapid flashing, this will bring you to 12 hours. All right, let's talk about what I did not like about this. I didn't like what it did when I ended up doing a gravel road, or I got off-road with the bike. And it's not because I couldn't see or anything. It wasn't about the light. It was the way the computer ended up having added on vibration. Like you could feel that there was a little bit more looseness to the computer, so the numbers got a little blurry. Is it a big deal? It wasn't a big deal for me on the road. As long as the pavement is decent, or even if it's a little rough, it's fine. But once you get into a gravel road, I mean, not that you can really see the numbers all that well without this. It's just a little added on movement for the bicycle computer, and especially if you have a big one like I do, like a Hammerhead Karoo, there's a lot of movement. So the numbers get a little blurry. That's a little added movement to the bicycle computer or to the display, because of you have basically, instead of one mount, you have two mounts in the sandwiching. Yeah, little extra play. Keep that in mind. If you're riding only road, I would say it's not an issue. The conclusion is $40 always on the bike for the road bike, gravel bike safety light. I think this is worth the money. This one, $140, is the best light I ever had. So a little heavier, but that's because of the battery. And you know, the battery monitor, maybe not the best and accurate, but it doesn't matter because it has a low battery warning. Good management because of the thumb switcher, low high beam. If you're interested in these, there's links in the description at the bottom. You can find both of these on Amazon, 40, 140. I think they're worth it. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time.